so let's recap the do's. Actually, let me recap everything, right? I'll recap all of the things now so that we have them. I just went over the do's. So the do's are: do vet him. Do vet him. Ask questions, ask more questions, ask underlying questions, and ask those initial immediate questions that are specific to your dating dynamic. Is he willing to travel to you? Would he ever consider moving from where he is? What are his relational ties? And what is his financial situation, so that you know he can afford to travel to and from you, okay? That's the first do. The second do set boundaries that are specific to your dating dynamic. Of course, you need to have your own personal boundaries, but set boundaries that are specific to the dating dynamic as well, whether it's a long distance dating situation or local. But specifically when we're talking about long distance, there need to be boundaries that are set. All right. Do create a timeline. Do create a timeline. A timeline is important. A timeline is important. We're talking for 30 days. After that 30-day marker, now we should be talking about planning to see one another. We've been in communication for 90 days. Within that 90-day period, we need to have seen each other at least one time, okay? The next do is do talk to and date other people. Do talk to and date other people so that you are creating options for yourself, so that you are not limiting yourself to someone that you only have communication over a device with, and so that you do not get sucked into the fantasy that you've created for yourself, and you're able to slow down the emotional process. Okay? The next do is do have growth markers. So you need to have personal growth markers for you that say this is growing, this is going somewhere. Specifically when we're talking about long distance dating. We've been communicating consistently for 30 days, right? Off of the apps. That's a growth marker. We are making plans for the first visit. That's a growth marker. He has booked his flight and accommodations for his stay here. That's a growth marker. We went on our actual first physical date. That's a growth marker. So it's growing. You're not wasting time. That means that if after 30 days, there's no conversation about meeting in person, there's no growth. And if things ain't growing, they're dying, baby. And sometimes you got to be the one to kill it. You got to murder that if it hasn't been there, right? So do have growth markers. The next do is do be strategic. Have a goal that you are looking to reach. This is why the growth markers are so important. Because you're able to be strategic and not just emotional. You're able to be strategic and not just girly. You're able to be strategic and not just in this romantic fantasy space. Do be strategic. You need to have a strategy, because this is about moving you from point A to point B to point F, etc. And then finally, do end things completely if there is no face-to-face meeting in the first 30 days. I'm sorry, the first 90 days. If you do not meet and see each other in the first 90 days, end communication, because what that means is that you are wasting your time. And no one else can waste your time unless you are a partner in the wasting of your own time. Okay, so those are the do's. Do vet him, do set boundaries, do create a timeline, do date and talk to other people, do have growth markers, do be strategic, and do end things if there's no face-to-face meeting in 3 months.